In this lecture, we will create the virtual machine that we will use to host the HTML application. A virtual machine is equivalent to an EC2 in AWS. To create the virtual machine, in the search box, type virtual machines. Then select virtual machines under services. Click create, then select Azure Virtual Machine. The first thing we are going to do is make sure we are in our Azure subscription, and we are going to select our resource group. Select this drop down and select your resource group. Next, we are going to give it a name. I'm going to call it DevVM. Once you have given it a name, select your region. I am using East US. Under availability options, we will use self-selected zone, and under availability zone, select zone 1. Then let's scroll down. Under security type, we will use the default settings, and under image, we will also use the default setting, which is the Ubuntu server. Under VM architecture, we'll use 64. Under run with Azure Spot discount, we will leave it as default, and for the size, we will use standard. But this standard is not available in zone 1 and is supported in zone 2. So let's scroll up and change our zone from zone 1 to zone 2. I want you to use the standard image size because it is the cheapest. Let's scroll back down, and we will leave this setting as default. For the authentication type, it is going to be SSH public key. Under username, our username is going to be Azure user. Please take note of this because this is the username we will use to SSH into our virtual machine. Under SSH public key source, select this drop down and select use existing key stored in Azure. And under stored key, select the drop down and select your key pair. Under public inbound ports, we already created the network security group in the previous lecture that we will use. So here, we are just going to select none. Then click next. On this page, we will leave all the settings as default. Scroll all the way down and click next. On this page, under virtual network, make sure your VNet is selected. And for the subnet, we are going to select public AZ2. And for the public IP, it is going to create a new public IP. And under NIC network security group, we will leave it on none because we already created a network security group in the previous lecture and we attached it to the public subnet. You can see that information here. Under delete public IP and NIC when VM is deleted, we will check this box. We will leave this setting as default, and under load balancing, we will select none for now. Click next. On this page, we will leave all the settings as default. Scroll down and click next. On this page, we will also leave the settings as default. Click next. And on this page, we will leave the settings as default. Scroll down and click next. On this page, we will give it a name tag. So here, I'm going to type name, and for the value, I'm going to call it DevVM, which is the same name I gave the virtual machine. Under resource, we are going to select all the resources that are here. That is fine. Then click next. On this page, we can review the settings for our VM, and here, by default, your name and your email should show up here. If you want to enter your number, you can do so here. I'm just going to scroll down and click create. We are now creating the virtual machine, and we will give it some time for the deployment to be complete. Once the deployment is complete, click Go to Resource. And this is the virtual machine. This is how we create a virtual machine in Azure. If you have any questions or there's any part you don't understand, please leave your comments below. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye.